Hello, I'm Joshua Alfred,
I'm Matthew Palacios.
and we're going to show you today how to use the Imagine Shape tool bench in CATIA to create Mac from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Alright, so to start off, we'll click Start, go to Imagine Shape, and then we'll name him Mac. I mean, well, he's Mac. He's not, Joe or Blue or Frank from the series. We'll name him Mac. Click OK. Type it in, click OK.
So first, we're actually going to use the revolve command to create the cylinder, which will be his shape for his head.
Alright, so go ahead and just make the similar kind of curved cylinder. You can edit your points using the Edit Points command on the Tools palette. And you can kind of get a little small shape off of it. Nothing too crazy, just a simple curved cylinder of sorts. Click the check mark to confirm and deselect the manipulation bar to basically create his face. Also be sure to right click and name this new subdivision set his face so that you can keep track of it. Also, we're going to do a similar thing again with the revolve command, but do it right around his head so that you create his hair. This will be the basic structure for his hair. So go ahead and make a similar shape like before when we made his face, and just manipulate it, make it a little bit larger, so that it kind of give you a nice little board. You can look at a picture of it.
Okay, so the next command we'll use is the extrude command. Now this is the one where it actually has a box with a sphere inside of it, and we'll use this to create the outline of his hair that's going to go around his face. So you actually see his facial features that we'll create later, such as his nose and his eyes.
Be sure when using the extrude command for his face, you click on the little invert button. Looks like a pair of circles go around a circle. Use that and click on the front features of his face so that you can actually pad out, actually remove what's going to be where his face is going to be. After that, if you double click on his hair on the specification bar, you can actually go down to the bottom of his hair and push it back a little bit using translation. So it's just so it stays out of the way, it doesn't kind of creep forward, keeps it more at his neckline. And go ahead, you can right click on each part, go to properties, then click on graphic. You can change the color of his face and his hair to like a tan and a brown color.
Alright, next to create his body, we're actually going to use another cylinder, which we'll use the rotate command, so it'll be vertical with his head. And then we'll go ahead and use translation command to move it down where the top of the cylinder will meet the bottom of his head. After that, we'll deselect the entire cylinder, select the top of it, and use the affinity command to scale it down to create his neck.
Yeah, the placement's pretty arbitrary. Kind of use a picture of Mac to get an idea of exactly how big his neck is in respect to the rest of his body, in respect to his head. It's not really big, but it's not too small either. So don't panic if you make it a little bit too small. You can use the affinity command and stretch it back out if you need to. Once you're done with that, go ahead and do the same thing to the bottom. Select the bottom four panels, well actually bottom surface. You're going to use the affinity command and the translation command to make it smaller and to move the bottom of what will basically be his body closer to his head, similar to how you see in this picture where his t-shirt is. This will be the basic framework for when we make his t-shirt as well. To make his t-shirt, what you need to do is go ahead, copy and paste body piece that you just created, copy and paste that into your part body. This will make a completely similar basic body shape where his current body is. And select the top surfaces again and move them back and move it down a little bit. This will create a little bit of distinction between the top of his shirt and where his neck is. Go ahead and select the top for the top of the cylinder again, and use the infinity command to make it bigger, so you make the distinction between his t-shirt and his neckline. Be sure to also rename this t-shirt and also color it red, trademark of Mac.
Next, we're actually going to create his sleeves. To do that, we're going to use, guessed it, another cylinder. And then we'll use the affinity command to size it down. And then we'll actually rotate and translate it to where his sleeve's roughly about 45 degrees from his side. Just, put it where you normally would put his shoulder, okay? So sticking out 45 degrees out, and then you can actually use the translation command to move it into his body so it's at the appropriate length.
Yeah, use a picture of Mac whenever possible. It gives you the best idea of where a lot of his features will definitely go. Also, be sure to use the affinity command to size down the sleeves so they don't look like long sleeves, because he doesn't wear long sleeves. He has an undershirt on, which we'll be making a little bit later in the video. To make a similar copy of his sleeves, select the sleeve, click the symmetry command, and then click the ZX plane since we're going across its front view. This will allow you to make an exact copy on the opposite side. Be sure to also use the hide and show command, because it does disappear when you first use the symmetry command.
We're going to use a cylinder again to create his pant legs. We'll go ahead and use rotation command to make sure it's orthogonal to the bottom of his waist. Use affinity command to size it down, the upper thigh portion, and then we'll deselect and select the bottom portion, use affinity command, and size it down around his ankles to the appropriate size.
From there, we'll use translation, kind of bring it up to where the bottom of his pants would be. Be sure not to accidentally select any other surfaces. You might get some funny results in the process. And just select all your surfaces and get it to roughly where you'd say the bottom of his pant leg would be. Once again, use a picture of Mac to get an idea of how proportional it is to the rest of his body. Also, what you can do is, to make sure his legs look a little bit more closely resemble to his actual character look, use the surface, click on the surface, and then use the translation. You can manipulate separate surfaces by themselves to create what his pant leg looks from his front or left or right side view. You can also use the select by edge, which is the next icon over from the little surface, or by point, where you select different points and move those individually around, or select multiple ones and use the control and click command. This takes a little bit of time, so be sure to reference your pictures and design close to how his pant legs would work. Alright. When you're done making one of his pant legs, once again you use the symmetry command. Click on this pant leg, click the ZX plane. It'll once again copy it over to the opposite side. Then you need adjustments if you need to, because if you adjust at least the main leg, which is copied from, the same design changes will be shown in the copied leg. Go ahead and name your pant legs and color them into their respective colors.
Alright, next we're going to create some kicks for Mac here. So we'll use a cylinder, rotate, we'll translate it to where the cylinder is just under his pant leg. And then we'll go ahead and use the affinity command to get it around the right size of his shoes. Once again, reference the picture of Mac to make sure his feet aren't too big. Then use the translation command to get it about to where his bottom of his pant leg is tangent with that shoe.